Hey, if I tell you play me a 1-4-5 in the key of G, would you be able to do it? Fairly simple. Maybe you can, but what if I tell you play me a 1-2-6 in the key of F sharp? Now things start getting a little bit more complicated, right? So let me tell you about the Nashville number system. It's a cheat code that allows you to play in any key, any chord progression instantly without even knowing what chords you have to play. So let's dive into my computer and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so we discussed we were going to play a 1-2-6 in the key of F sharp. So first of all, what is a key? It's a group of notes from the same family, and they come from the major scale. And yes, you can learn every single note of every single major scale, but that's a pain. It's going to take you months. So let me show you a very easy way to know all the notes of any key instantly. First thing we got to do is locate our first note, the key on the 6th string. And if you don't know the notes on the 6 strings, they're going to pop up on the screen. You can take a screenshot of this or just write them down. But here's our F sharp note on the 2nd fret 6th string. So that's our key. In order to find all the other notes in this key, we're going to follow this very simple sequence. The next note in this key is 2 frets apart on the same string. So here's our 2nd note in the key of F sharp. Our 3rd note is 2 frets from there. So those are notes 1, 2, and 3 in the key of F sharp. Now to find notes 4, 5, and 6, we're just going to copy these 3 notes on the 5th string. And just like that, we know the notes 4, 5, and 6 in the key of F sharp, which is this note over here. But if we want to play a 1-2-6 chord progression, we can't play single notes. We got to play chords. So we're going to transform these notes inside of this key into chords. And the way we do that is the first chord is going to be a major chord. The 2nd note is going to transform into a minor chord. The 3rd note is also going to transform into a minor chord. So now we know our first chord in the key of F sharp is a major chord. The 2nd chord in the key of F sharp is a minor, and the 3rd is a minor too. The 4th chord in the key of F sharp is going to become a major chord. The 5th note in the key of F sharp is going to become a major chord too. And the 6th note in the key of F sharp is going to become a minor chord. So now we know all the chords in the key of F sharp. We've got 1 is a major, 2 is a minor, 3 is a minor, 4 is a major, 5 is a major, 6 is a minor. And this works for all keys. But how do we actually play these chords in the key of F sharp? Well, for chords that are located on the E string, those notes on the E string, we're going to use an E shape. And for chords located on the A string, we're going to use an A shape. So following the Nashville number system, what chords were we playing? A 1, a 2, and a 6, correct? So for the first chord, it's a major chord. I'm just going to get an E shape. That's your E chord shape, right? And these 3 notes are the one left open. Now that's the note that defines the chord. That's E. And I'm going to move it all the way up to F sharp, but I'm also going to move all the other notes. So I'm going to drag this note all the way here till I find an F sharp. Now, because I moved all the notes in unison, that now becomes an F sharp chord. One note becomes another note. If I move all the notes that create a chord, it becomes another chord. And this is where you place your bar. You place a bar where the first note of that scale is, and then you place an E shape in front of it. Let's talk about the 2nd chord. Remember, we've got a 1-2-6 in the key of F sharp. Now my 2 chord is also on the E string, so I'm again going to move an E shape till I find this note over here. That's my E shape, and I'm going to move it all the way up to here to find this note over here. Here we go, all the way up to here. Again, these notes that were left open is where I place my bar. But this chord is minor, not major. This is an E major shape. So how do we transform an E major shape into an E minor shape? We just move this note over here. So now we've got our first chord using the Nashville system. And we've got our second chord, which is a minor chord, in the key of F sharp. What about the sixth chord? Well, it's in the A string, so we're going to use an A shape. We're going to get this A shape and move it all the way up to this note over here. So here we go, till I find that same note right here. Now these two notes that were left open is where I'm going to place my bar. Now look at this. The sixth chord in the key of F sharp, or in any key, is a minor chord. So what's the difference between an A major chord and an A minor? Just that note, 1 fret lower. So now, without even knowing what chords these are, you can play a 1, 2, 6 in the key of F sharp. But you can do this for any key. These are the notes that we transformed into chords in the key of F sharp, but what do we want to play in the key of A? Well, we locate A on the E string, and we repeat the exact same sequence. That right there is an A note, and I repeat the same sequence, and now I know all my notes in the key of A. We were playing a 1, 2, 6 in the key of A, and again, we transform these notes into chords. The ones on the E string, we use an E shape or an E minor shape, and the ones on the A string, we use an A or an A minor shape in this case. Boom! See, I turned this note into a major chord using an E shape. I turned this note over here into a minor chord using an E minor shape, and I turned this note into a minor chord too, but using an A minor shape. This is child play, and you can do it for any key you want. Now let's imagine you can't play full bar chords. You're struggling with that. Now what do? Well, you can always play triads. A triad is just 3 notes played together, and all these chords only have 3 notes. Let me color these notes in colors, and then we'll be able to find our triads. So now that we've colored those chords in 3 different colors, tri means 3. Any combination of those 3 colors is going to give us a triad. So let's just say you just want to use the 3 thinnest strings for every chord. Check it out. Every one of those chords has the 3 colors: red, green, and blue, red, green, and blue, green, blue, and red. Those are your triads. Could you use strings 2, 3, and 4? Check it out. Every one of those chords using strings 2, 3, and 4 has those 3 colors included inside of them. You've got a red, a blue, and a green for all 3 chords. This is child play. You've just discovered how to know all the notes of any key instantly, how to transform them into chords and play them even if you don't know what chord it is, and how to find your triads. If you want to know more on how the fretboard works without complex theory jargon, without needing a music master's degree, check out this little book I wrote for you. So here you have it, the Ultimate Guitarist Chord Book. Everything you'll ever want to know about chords is included in this book. We start with very simple open chord shapes, right? How to fret them, how to change through them, how to transform them into minor chords. We've got videos in this book. We also have exercises you can do. We talk about chord variations and extensions, how to transform your chords using very simple method, using colors and moving notes around those chords. We talk about easy chord progressions you can do right now. We talk about bar chords, how to fret them, how to make them sound clean, how they move across the fretboard, sharps and flats. We also talk about caged and how it works, how to navigate the fretboard using cage. We also talk about triads and how to locate your triads using colors, which is very simple, right? You just got to find your colors inside of each chord shape, how to move them across the fretboard. We talk about theory, all other chords, how to create sus chords, minor chords, right? 5 chords, 7 chords, major 7, 6, augmented, diminished. All the chords you'll ever want to know are included in this book with videos. We also talk about chord bosoms by genres, right? What does blues use? How can you play rock and hard rock? How can you play funk, reggae? We talk about chord progression theory. The circle of fifths, how to effectively use it. How to create minor chord progressions too. And then you've got a chord library to know how to fret your triads, your bar chords, your open chords, right? All the chords you'll ever want to play are included in this library on how to fret them with high quality pictures and indicating what fingers to use for each chord shape. Go and check it out. The link is going to be down there in the description somewhere. The Ultimate Guitarist Chord Book, if you want to know everything about chords explained in simple language, go and check it out.